Okay, hello everyone. So what I'm about to do is, there's been some confusion when I'm trying to explain to y'all pretty much how much textual evidence, basically how much of your research you actually use in your paper and how much of it should be your own words. A research paper should not be just you compiling all of these quotes and paraphrases together. I always say if I were to break it down to percentage, I would make 85% of your paper your words, your ideas, your thoughts, and 15% of your paper your research that is supporting or proving your thoughts and ideas. And the majority of that 15% needs to be direct quotes. You can sometimes have a paraphrase only if you're covering a vast amount of information, and a paraphrase is needed to cover all of that because, of course, you wouldn't want to put a whole entire paragraph quoted in your paper. So I didn't want to write this sample paragraph about one of y'all's topics because I didn't want to, like take any of y'all's ideas for sure. But so I just decided to write it about seahorses because why not, right? So this is, that should say what right there. This is just an example of what a body paragraph might look like in a research paper about seahorses. So this is not the introduction. This is not anything like that. This is just like part of the body paragraph of what it might look like in a research paper about seahorses. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to see what I mean when I'm telling you like the 85-15% and the majority of your ideas. Okay, so and of course, we're going to embed all of our quotes and all of that, just like you've done when you've answered OERs or short answer questions. But, I'm going to kind of walk you through that here. So you need to start your body paragraph with a topic sentence. So pretty much general, broad idea of what that paragraph is going to be about. So mine is seahorses are dignified, majestic creatures that possess unique physical traits and characteristics. So this is my thought, my idea. It's coming from my brain. So obviously, I'm going to lead into some physical things about the seahorse that make it unique. All right. Oftentimes, it takes a couple or more sentences to work into needing a direct quote. And so I'm going to have another sentence of my own words here. Most noticeably, the seahorse has an unusual appearance in its equine body shape. There we go. So with this right here, I'm just saying, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, y'all. So with here, I'm just saying, I'm about to start talking about the shape of its body, pros and cons. So because of the body shape, though, and now I want to find something from one of my note cards. So I have over here and just disregard these other sample note cards. And these, if they were yours, would be filled out all the way, but I just did these quickly to give you an example. So I'm going to use this note card right here because, because of the shape of their body, they're not good swimmers. So I'm going to go back to my Word document right here. And I'm going to say because of the body shape, though, and then I'm going to start with seahorses are rather inept swimmers and can easily die of exhaustion. I'm going to stop right here. I don't have to use all of the quote, so I can stop whenever I want. So I'm going to stop after exhaustion. All right, so because of the body shape, though, seahorses are rather inept swimmers and can easily die of exhaustion. Okay, so I'm going to stop with the direct quote, so I'm going to end that quote, but I'm not done yet. One of the most important things whenever you use a direct quote in your research paper is you have to have what we call parenthetical documentation, or an easier way to say it is in-text citation. What that means is when I use someone else's words, yes, I've shown that they're someone else's words by putting quotes around them, but haven't said whose words they are. And y'all have, at least 5 sources probably, so I've got to give credit to that exact person. So if I go back and look at this note card right here, it's linked to Sarah Laurie, okay, because I cited her, I created a source card. So the way that works is in parentheses right here, I put her last name. So not first name, not first initial, just last name only. And then I put a space, and then I put the page number. So let's say I got that on page 42 of that book. Then I end those parentheses, and then I put a period. There's not a comma, there's nothing in between that, it's just last name, page number, and then it goes inside of the period. That's very, very important right there. Okay? So now, just like in an OER, you never end, or you should never end an OER with just a quote. You always have to follow it up with elaboration. And so that's exactly what we're going to do in your research paper. Your research paper is just like a bunch of OERs put together that all flow, of course. So, after this sentence, I'm going to say the unique appearance is eye-catching. Eye-catching. But it has proven to be a weakness of the seahorse because it is not equipped with a basic survival skill. Now, in my opinion, and this is up to you, you've got to just kind of judge it as you go, but I feel like I need another elaboration sentence to go along with this first one right here about the quote. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's not equipped. Okay, so if a seahorse were to be caught in a storm, it could prove to be deadly as its health would deteriorate quickly. So again, that's my elaboration there. So what I'm doing is I'm talking about, seahorses are rather inept swimmers because of their unusual appearance. So because of their body shape and size and all of that, they're not very good swimmers. And what's the effect of that? So I'm really taking that analysis a little bit further. And that's what I want to see after your direct quotes and paraphrases. But remember, you don't have a lot of paraphrases if you have any. I'm not requiring that you have any at all. Okay, so I'm going to take this further because to me this is too short. It's not developed enough to be one body paragraph by itself. So I'm going to take this a little bit further, and I'm going to say one might assume that this fact would make seahorses easier prey. Well, hold on. but that is not always the case. So I'm gonna transition, always the case, to how their body shape, again, kind of what my topic or what my body paragraph's about. So how their body shape kind of lends to other things, like someone might think that, if they're not a good swimmer, they're gonna get eaten a lot, and that's actually not the case. They don't. Adult seahorses don't get just eaten up a lot because of some of their other survival skills. So I'm going to kind of transition here to, one might assume that this fact would make seahorses easier prey, but that is not always the case. So here comes my next piece of evidence. I read that seahorses are really good at camouflaging themselves, and also they're not very meaty, so a lot of predators don't want to eat them. Okay, so I want to see here. Oh, here we go. Adult seahorses are presumed to have few predators as a result of excellent camouflage and their unappetizing bony plates and spines. So I'm not going to use all of that. I'm only going to pick what fits in, what I need and what fits into my sentence that I've already started in my own words. That's called embedding. So I think I'm going to start with excellent. Okay, so switching back over here. That is not always the case. Due to excellent camouflage and their unappetizing bony plates and spines. Okay, I'm going to end my quote there, but I'm going to continue on my sentence in my own words, which I can totally do that. Whoa, why did that do that? Well, I'm sorry. This is definitely unrehearsed. Can't y'all tell? Okay, so due to excellent camouflage and their unappetizing bony plates and spines, comma, some people would wonder, do I put the punctuation inside the quotation mark or outside the quotation mark? If it is something that normally, like for example, in your quote that you took it out of, there was a comma there, then you can put it inside. But if you're adding that comma on your own to just kind of make your sentence go better, embed better, then it goes outside of the direct quote. So, comma, adult seahorses are often able to avoid predators. Now, before I can add my period here, this is my sentence with my direct quote, so I've got to give credit. Now, I only had one source in this because, I just did an example here. You might have you might be citing multiple people in your body paragraph, and that's awesome and wonderful. But I'm going to cite Lori again because I just used one book to get this information from. So I'm going to open that up again, and I'm going to say Lori because that's her last name, and then I need to put the page number. Let's say I got it on page 22, then I'm ending that parentheses and then putting a period. Remember, that goes inside the period there. Okay, I can't end my paragraph with that right there because I gotta elaborate. I have too many spaces right there. There we go. So, I might say these helpful traits enable the seahorse to anchor its body with the tail and feed. It's okay, you're fine. To anchor its body with the tail and feed without the fear of becoming a predator's dinner. So I started with talking about the shape of the body and how it causes the seahorse to not be a very good swimmer, and how that can prove to be a horrible thing for the seahorse, because there are times when you're a fish that you need to be a good swimmer. And then I talked about how that might lead to the assumption that seahorses just get eaten up all over the place, but that's actually not the case, because another unique physical trait and characteristic of them is the fact that they can camouflage themselves really excellently. And they're also really bony. And so that means that a lot of predators don't really want to eat them. They go to try to eat other things. So then I kind of, just added that this trait, the trait of being an excellent camouflager, helps the seahorse to just anchor down with its tail and feed without fear. So if I were to continue writing this paper, which would be very interesting, but I'm not going to do that, because I had a lot of other work to do, I would add after this a transition to paragraph about feeding and mating habits of the seahorse. So I feel like this paragraph is well developed, and it's sufficient. And so what I would do here is this last sentence right here kind of lends me to be able to transition out of this topic and into the topic of their feeding and mating habits. So that's kind of where I would go with it. The big thing to remember here is your research is, the whole purpose of it is to support, improve your thoughts and your ideas. I mainly want to read your thoughts and your ideas. That's why you're writing this paper. If I wanted to read your sources, I'd go read them. Okay? So that's just kind of, my basic thoughts on how to write a body paragraph. This is, of course, no introduction or conclusion or anything like that. This is just a little snippet of what your paper might look like. Okay? Thank y'all so much for listening.